No DQ Galaxy. We are live with the NoDQ.com recap of Monday Night Raw for Monday, April 18th, 2022, as we are now on the road to Wrestlemania Backlash. We started Raw off with a recap of the whole Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins storyline. Seth freaking Rollins came down to the ring to cut a promo. He invited Cody to the ring. There were Cody chants. Cody came down to the ring. Rollins was encouraging the chants, but then Cody started milking the chants, and Rollins started to get a little bit agitated. Cody talked about how Buffalo, New York is Rhodes country. And then Rollins said that he was going to tell Cody how much he respected the Rhodes family. However, instead, he said that what Cody accomplished at WrestleMania means nothing because Rollins made him a star in one night. It was all him, Seth freaking Rollins. Cody just wanted Rollins to get to the point. So Rollins said that at WrestleMania, Cody had the unfair advantage being the mystery opponent. Rollins said he is better than Cody in every single way. Cody is the flavor of the month, not the future of the industry. And Cody said, yeah, it's true. Rollins is a four-time champion, but that doesn't change what Cody accomplished at WrestleMania. And Cody asked the fans in Buffalo if he was better than Seth Rollins. They agreed. Rollins got more frustrated and said, how about Cody Rhodes versus a mystery opponent of Rollins' choosing in the main event? Cody responded by saying he doesn't back down from a fight. So the answer is absolutely yes. And thus our main event was set up. Cody Rhodes versus a mystery opponent of Seth freaking Rollins' choosing. Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, I give the 2-hour nap. This show put me in an A+. Ouch. Hamp, not a very big fan of this Monday Night Raw episode, apparently. We had our first match of the evening, which was for the women's tag team titles. We had Sasha Banks and Naomi defending against Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Champions had the early momentum, and Rhea Ripley caught Sasha Banks on the outside and launched her into Naomi, and then Rhea hit the riptide on Sasha to the barricade, giving the challengers the upper hand. Back in the ring, Rhea Ripley was on the verge of winning the match. She hit the riptide to Naomi. However, Sasha Banks broke up the pinfall. And then the champs, Sasha and Naomi, they double teamed Rhea Ripley. They got the 1, 2, 3. And then afterwards, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan argued with each other. Things got heated. Rhea felt that Liv was not there for her in the key moments of the match. And then from behind, Rhea Ripley attacked Liv Morgan, thus breaking up the tag team. I think we all pretty much expected this to happen. Rhea Ripley laid her out with the riptide, and then backstage, she was interviewed about why she turned her back on her partner, and she said that she doesn't owe anybody an explanation, but figured she was frustrated and she was sick of the dead weight, Liv Morgan. I mean, I'm fine with the angle. I think Rhea Ripley should be in contention for the Raw Women's title. She's better off as a heel at this stage of the game. Pretty much what needed to be done. It's sad that one of the few teams that WWE has in the women's division is broken up, but at the same time, I think this one needed to be done. Hopefully they can actually create some long-term women's tag teams in WWE. That would be nice. TJS is here. He sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Tyler. Says, actually not a bad show tonight. I am choosing this recap over Better Call Saul since I have to be up early for work tomorrow. Lie detector test needed some sound effects. Well, I agree with you about the lie detector test. I think you're a little nuts skipping Better Call Saul for me, but hey, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Sonya Deville came to the ring for a promo, and she got a lot of boos, and she talked about how people think she's misusing her power. She said that she was forced into a management position, and she talked about how she had to find a way to become a superstar again. She praised Bianca, said she is the BEST, and that's why she wants the match. She got the what chance, and then Bianca Belair interrupted. And Bianca suggested that they have the match right there in Buffalo, New York on Raw. Sonya said she was not going to waste her time having a match in Buffalo and said that she'll do it next week in Bianca's hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee. And said that she's doing Bianca a favor because Bianca will have her family there. She'll have a shoulder to cry on when she loses. That's when Bianca Belair picked up Sonya. She was going to hit the KOD, the kiss of death. Sonya was yelling at her, holding the mic, yelling to put her down or else there'll be consequences. So Bianca did put down Sonya Deville and walk to the back. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, okay, I'm going to say something positive for once. At least right now, I know who the women's tag team champions are. I just wish they would have real tag teams. Yeah, I mean, with Sasha Banks and Naomi as the champions, it does elevate the titles a little bit, but they need some solid challengers. That's for damn sure. And shout out to good old JM Jeff Meacham. Make sure you guys tune in for Talk Wrestling this week, Tuesday night after NXT. Big G is here. Shout out to Big Baller G. He's just happy to be here. We had Veer Mahan in a squash match. Just some random guy beat him up, $1 million arm, cervical clutch, put it on again after the match was over. Guy got stretchered out. Not much to say about it. I like it. I'm fine with the squash matches. I think they should do more of them. It's okay to do the enhancement matches. Builds up Veer. No issues with this. And then backstage, Adam Pearce told Sonya that he would take care of Bianca Belair. But Pearce said that Sonya Deville needs to worry about her own future because there is apparently an official investigation into Sonya Deville. And Sonya was very upset. Pearce did say that Bianca would be fined. Bianca showed up, said she was there to pay her fine, which was $1. And of course, Sonya Deville very upset about this. Good segment. I liked it. No issues here. We had the Kevin Owens show. This was the lie detector test segment. Kevin Owens trying to catch Ezekiel in a lie and have Ezekiel admit that he is actually Elias. And he had his friend Chad Gable there to administer the test, since Gable is unbiased and he is the smartest man in WWE. Well, he would not have been the smartest man back in 1990 because you had Lanny Poffo, the genius, back then. And Gable also said after the test he was going to beat Ezekiel in a match and said that he'll uncover the truth one way or another. If Ezekiel lies, Gable said he would beat the truth out of Ezekiel. So Kevin Owens introduced Ezekiel as Elias. Ezekiel came down to the ring and He got hooked up. Owens was starting to get mad when Ezekiel was saying, "Who wants to hear Zeke speak?" So Gable asked the questions. He said that the people need to shoosh because all the noise can screw up the results. Gable asked some questions. Is the sky blue? And then he threw in a Gable Steveson question, said, is Gable Steveson a spoiled brat? That got Kevin Owens pissed off. Owens said he had paid Gable 150 Canadian dollars to do this, and he needs to do it right. So then Gable did ask the question, is Ezekiel really his name? Ezekiel hesitated a little bit, but did say yes. And Gable said that Ezekiel was telling the truth. Kevin Owens threw a big fit. And then another question was asked, is Ezekiel's real name Elias? Ezekiel said no. And Gable said that's true too. So Owens just got fed up. Owens said that he's not going to pay Gable the 150 Canadian dollars. And then we had Zeke get in the face of Owens, said he's tired of being called a liar by the biggest liar in WWE. And Owens told Ezekiel to admit he's Elias or else. And Ezekiel said, or else what? Owens decided to leave, but then Gable attacked Ezekiel from behind, and that led to our match. Ezekiel versus Chad Gable. By the way, shout out to Interstate Kyle. A lot of people in the chat tonight, so thank you guys for tuning in. Chad Gable worked over the leg for a while, and then Gable went for a moonsault, but Zeke got a big boot up, and then Zeke hit a spine buster, was putting on a submission hold, and that's when all of a sudden Otis ran in, attacked Ezekiel, causing the disqualification. So not much to say about the match, but yeah, they did a DQ here, and maybe, man, if only they could get some special effects and have Elias and Ezekiel as a tag team. Like, maybe they could just put a beard on LA Knight instead of having him be a manager, and they could make that work. Anyways, moving on here. Psycho Jet Black said, Chad versus Steveson, the loser loses the first name Gable. Well, Gable Steveson ain't losing his name, period. I doubt that they would even do that as a stipulation. It would be funny, though, but I think that would be utterly predictable. We had RK Bro versus the Street Profits. The champs were working well together. Riddle hit a top rope Spanish fly. Orton tagged in. Riddle and Orton did the dueling DDTs. Riddle then tagged back in, went for an RKO, but the Usos music arrived. However, it was a trick. It was a setup, a distraction, a fake out. Ford and Dawkins took advantage. Ford hit the blockbuster off the top with Riddle on Dawkins' shoulders, and then the Profits got the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, the Profits got on the mic and said that whole thing with the Usos, that was to show RK Bro that the Usos are not the only tag team that RK Bro need to worry about. So yes, Raw Tag Team Champions lose heading into WrestleMania Backlash. I mean, whatever at this point, right? And I guess the Street Profits are turning heel. I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks, and it seems like WWE is not really pulling the trigger on it, but this was the closest thing to a heel turn yet from these guys. We had Edge and Damian Priest interviewed in this scary room. You had the scales of justice. You had the throne. And Edge talked about how last week with AJ Styles, it was mind games. The seeds got planted for this new Edge 20 years ago with the Brood and the Ministry of Darkness. Said that Priest was the glue that held Bad Bunny together at WrestleMania 37. And Bad Bunny got all the glory, and then Priest didn't even get a match at WrestleMania 38. Edge said in addition to that, he had to beg to get somebody to wrestle him at WrestleMania. And he said that when he came back, fans were happy, but there were also fans calling him out for being a part-timer. And he said that he stopped paying attention to the fans. He stopped caring. He said he is going to pass judgment on anybody that stands in front of them. And he officially challenged Styles to a rematch at WrestleMania Backlash. Then we cut to an interview with AJ Styles. He accepted the match, but then the lights started flickering in the room, and then all of a sudden, Edge and Priest popped in. They beat the crap out of Styles. They repeatedly smashed Styles' arm using a cabinet door in the locker room. So yeah, that match is officially set up for WrestleMania Backlash, the rematch. WrestleMania Backlash rematch should be the name of the pay-per-view. Walter Cruz with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, RK Bro gets distracted by music. How dumb is that? Well, the Usos did show up last week, but yeah, you would think that they would just go about their business, and if they get attacked, they get attacked, you know. They'll still win the match even if they get attacked. That's why I hate the distraction finishes so much, because I'm thinking if this is real life and I'm in a match, let them attack me from behind. I want to win the match. I want the big payday. And I'll take my chances that I can fight back from them and not get too badly hurt from being jumped from behind. We had an Austin Theory video package, and then we had Austin Theory challenging Finn Balor for the United States Championship. Theory got the early momentum, hit a neck breaker to the outside of the ring, and that was a crucial moment in this match. It did go back and forth. Balor hit a dive to the outside, but he was selling his neck. And then Balor went for the coup de grace, but he missed. And he again started selling his neck. Theory took advantage of that, hit the ATL, and picked up the win. New United States champion. Man, what a crappy title run that was for Finn Balor. Got to turn the guy heel and have him join Edge and Priest, because dude is dead in the water as a babyface. Like the heel turn is pretty much the only thing that can revitalize Finn Balor at this point, in my opinion. Hemp Kana with a $2 super chat says, my guess is Edge wins again due to Tommaso Ciampa. You might be right on that, Hamp. I would not mind seeing Ciampa in the group. Ciampa and Balor, make it a four-person faction. Maybe add Rhea Ripley, 5-person faction. Why not? Interstate Kyle with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. Says, hope everyone had a good Easter and holiday weekend. We did, Kyle. I hope you had a great one as well. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Like I said, make sure you guys follow him on YouTube for some cool driving videos. Interstate Kyle on YouTube. Anyways, after this match, after Theory won, several of the heels came down to the ring to celebrate with him. And then Vince McMahon himself came out to the stage. His music played. The crowd sang his song. Rare Vince appearance on Raw, at least in front of the crowd. And then Austin Theory went over. Oh, I forgot he's not Austin anymore. He's just Theory, whatever. Theory went over to Vince, got his post-match victory selfie with Vince, and there you go, Austin Theory. The strap is around his waist, and he's the champ. He's got the momentum. I just hope they do something with Balor. Really would like to see Finn Balor as part of the Edge heel faction. Then we had maybe the most polarizing segment on this show. We had the wedding of the 24/7 participants, the dual wedding, or joining together, whatever the hell they were calling it. You had Dana Brooke getting together with Reggie, and you had Tamina getting together with Tozawa, with R-Truth as the officiant. And Truth said that there would be no shenanigans during the ceremony. Tamina and Dana Brooke were introduced. They had their wedding dresses, and R-Truth called her Dana Brooks. She had to correct him, and he did the "my bad." There were the vows read, and basically Dana Brooks said all these nice things about Reggie, knight in shining armor, etc., etc. R-Truth said he was going to cry. And Reggie talked a little bit, and then basically Tamina and Tozawa just said that they were going to say the same things, just ditto, basically. Then Truth did the whole, if anybody has a problem, speak now or forever hold your peace. And Tamina objected. She swapped out Tozawa for Reggie. Then she swapped again. She traded herself over to be with Dana, and the crowd popped pretty big for this. I think they should have just gone with this. They should have done the kiss. Like R-Truth was saying this is not PG. They should have done Dana Brooke kissing Tamina, and then Tozawa has to kiss Reggie. Like, that would have been funny. I think maybe WWE did not want to risk anything that might be seen as remotely controversial, but it would have been entertaining. Like, it would have gotten a big number, that's for sure. You could have put that as the thumbnail, Dana Brooke kissing Tamina. They would have done it during the Attitude Era. So anyways, Tamina ended up going back to the normal configuration. R-Truth certified them, whatever that means. I guess not technically a wedding, whatever. And we had our kisses. But then as Reggie was pinning Dana, he pinned her. Once the ceremony was certified, the 24/7 title rule was back into effect. So Reggie pinned Dana, then Tamina pinned Reggie, then Tozawa pinned Tamina, and then Dana pinned Tozawa and escaped with R-Truth's help as they ran to the back. So there you go. Segment was entertaining. It was really goofy, but you kind of know what to expect with the 24/7 stuff. I mean, R-Truth is always entertaining. And the only thing I would have done differently is I would have gone with the two brides kissing for the moment, and then having the two guys having to kiss as well, and they're not happy about it. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, would Balor be higher on the card if he was taller? Probably. I would say that that's a reasonable thing. If Balor was taller, he would be pushed stronger. And you know what? You could say that about a lot of the guys on the WWE roster. If they had a few extra inches of height, they probably would have been bigger stars than they ended up being. Seth Rollins sent in a $2 super chat, says, will Austin Theory bring back credibility to the U.S. title? I hope so. I mean, Vince McMahon is putting his seal of approval on Austin Theory. But remember, he did that with Drew McIntyre 2009, 2010. It did not pan out during that first run. Nothing is a guarantee. Even if Vince McMahon guarantees it, doesn't mean it's a guarantee. Paul sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Says, the Bachelor Benjamin Boone was a groomsman. There were quite a few people out there. Sasha Banks and Naomi were out there, and I did see some people complaining about that, saying, oh, what are they doing here, having the women's tag team champions be in the 24/7 title segment? Didn't really bother me that much. Sasha got some more TV time. She probably just wanted to have fun with it, so whatever. I'm not going to overanalyze it too much. We then had Bobby Lashley interviewed, and footage was shown from earlier in the day with MVP and Omos. They cut a promo, and basically MVP had Omos challenge Lashley to a contest, an arm wrestling contest, which Lashley did accept. and said, we'll find out next week who is stronger. Arm wrestling match on next week's show. Feels like WWE's going back to some of their old gimmicks, this lie detector test. I don't even know if they've done one since 2003. Somebody out there, Jeff, or one of you trivia experts, was that Vince Mr. America lie detector the last lie detector segment until this week? I don't remember one in between. So if there was one, somebody let me know. But yeah, they brought back that. We don't see arm wrestling contests too much, every once in a while, but I remember one with Scott Steiner and Triple H. Not sure when the last one was. Definitely been a while. Walter Cruz with a $10 super chat says, WWE released multiple talents over the last year. There are people fighting for TV time. You have this talent in the back, and this is what you put on TV? Dumb wedding angles? I would rather see more squashes. The wedding segments typically draw ratings. That's why WWE does them. They do have their appeal to casual fans. And a lot of the times, I think the wedding segments are entertaining. Sometimes they're train wrecks, but typically I find them fun to watch if they do tend to be somewhat predictable. Actually, very predictable most of the time. Just like the arm wrestling contest. Like, let me guess. Omos is going to get ready in position, and then he's going to back away, and he's going to stall for time, and he's going to need to get oiled up or claim that Lashley is too oiled up. They'll keep stalling it. Every time they're about to lock up, they'll have some kind of reason to delay it. That's the gimmick that they always do. And then the cheating at the end, like he flips it over when he's about to lose, flips over the table. We'll see what they do next week, but that's typically how the arm wrestling segments go. We then had our main event, Cody Rhodes versus the mystery opponent. And the mystery opponent was introduced by Seth freaking Rollins. And his opponent for Cody Rhodes was the best friend of Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens. They did a big hug, and then we had our match. Owens got the early upper hand, and he did the gold dust taunt, which I thought was pretty amusing. I did not catch him doing the Young Bucks taunt, which he did in a dark match a few weeks ago. That's too bad. I would have popped for that if he did the Young Bucks taunt on Monday Night Raw. But anyways, he did do the gold dust taunt, and he hit a fallaway slam to Cody on the barricade. Owens went for a senton, but Cody got his knees up, and then they were on the outside of the ring. Cody tackled Owens over the announce table. That's when Seth freaking Rollins arrived. Back in the ring, Owens hit a frog splash, but Cody kicked out. Owens kept trying to put away Cody. He hit a senton. Cody kicked out. Hit a fisherman suplex off the top. Cody kicked out or got a foot on the rope. And then Owens went to finish Cody on the apron, but Cody back body dropped him onto the apron. Then Rollins yelled at Owens on the outside of the ring, said to get his, quote, fat ass up. And that's when Owens had enough. He said, this is your fight. He walked away, got counted out. Cody Rhodes picks up the win via countout. And then afterwards, Cody was celebrating, and Rollins attacked Cody from behind, knocked him off the top rope, and Cody fell to the floor. Raw very quickly went off the air as they were over the 11 o'clock hour. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, do casuals care more about promos than wrestling? Probably. I think casuals just want to be entertained, and they want the soap opera stuff, which is kind of what I like. I do like the soap opera elements that we get in wrestling. Like, if two guys are just mat wrestling or doing the chain wrestling, I really do not care that much about it. I like the larger-than-life characters and the skits and that sort of thing. But they have to be done well. When they're not done well, they're really awful to watch. It's a matter of doing it right and having the right people involved and just the timing of everything. There's a lot of factors, but yeah, you can't just go out there and wrestle, and you can't just go out there and do a comedy segment and have it work. You have to do it at the right time with the right people, with the right storyline. Overall, I like this main event, although they did another non-finish. We had quite a few on this show. We had a DQ, we had a count out, but that's typical Raw. Overall show was pretty solid. I did enjoy it. I would probably give it a solid B. Good Raw. Pretty entertaining. Didn't really bore me. I felt like it moved at a fairly fast pace. And Mo Camera, I'm not a fan of 30-minute promos, so I definitely do not want that. And sometimes those Triple H promos from back in the day felt like they were 30 minutes. But Raw was good. I thought the 24/7 segment, which I typically dislike those segments. I just think they lack creativity. I thought this one was pretty good. So the comedy I thought was entertaining. You got a title change on the show. You continued the AJ Styles Edge storyline. I like the Ezekiel stuff. That was funny. So the comedy on this show I felt worked. I like the Sonya stuff. Overall, pretty solid. And Buffalo was a good crowd. They were pretty hot for the whole show, too. Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat, says, last lie detector was CM Punk in 2012 on Miz TV. Well, thank you for that trivia note. I do appreciate that, Hamp. And I would say probably a somewhat recommend. Like, it's not a must-watch show, but I certainly felt like this was a better Raw than usual by Raw standards. Like, I still think that this Raw was a little bit below the level of most Dynamites, but still a good Raw. And on that note, I'm done for the night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership and support as always. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, give it a like on YouTube, and tell a friend. Spread the word about NoDQ.com. We got a lot of videos coming up this week, so stay tuned for that. Take care, everybody, and remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. See you guys next time.